Most men don't realize this, but the problem isn't that you're bad with women. It's that your presence is weak. Not weak as an insult. Weak as in diluted, scattered, leaking in 100 directions. You walk into a room and nothing about you lands. You speak, but your words don't carry weight. You stand next to a woman and she doesn't feel anything shift in the air. And that drives you crazy, because you're trying. You're working out. You're improving your style. You're watching videos, reading books, memorizing lines. Yet when you're actually around women, something still feels off. They're polite, maybe friendly, but not drawn. Not curious. Not affected. Here's the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. Attraction doesn't start with techniques. It starts with energy. And semen retention is one of the fastest ways to fix a weak presence, because it forces your nervous system, hormones, and psychology to stop leaking power. When you constantly release, you're constantly discharging tension. That might sound good on paper. Relief, relaxation, stress reduction. But attraction is not built on relaxation. It's built on contained tension. Masculine presence is pressure held calmly. It's the feeling that there's more beneath the surface than what's being shown. When a man lacks that, women feel it instantly. They may not consciously know why, but they sense there's no depth, no gravity. Most men today are overstimulated and undercontained. Endless scrolling, constant novelty, dopamine hits on demand. Sexual release becomes another button you press to escape pressure instead of learning to hold it. Over time, your body adapts to this pattern. Your baseline drops. Your posture softens. Your eye contact weakens. Your voice loses resonance. You become reactive instead of grounded. That's what women experience as weak presence. Semen retention flips that pattern. Not magically, not spiritually in some abstract way. Physiologically and psychologically, when you stop releasing, your body doesn't get the signal that the mission is complete. Evolutionarily, ejaculation tells the system, objective achieved. When that signal is constantly sent without real-world effort, without courtship, challenge, or purpose, the system downregulates. Motivation drops, edge disappears. The body assumes there's no need to sharpen itself. Retention interrupts. At loop, testosterone sensitivity increases. Dopamine receptors begin to normalize. You stop chasing quick relief and start tolerating tension. That tolerance is everything, because presence is not about doing more. It's about being able to hold more. The first thing that changes is your eyes. Men on retention stop darting their gaze. They look slower. More deliberate. More deliberate. There's less neediness in the way they scan a room. When you make eye contact, you don't rush to break it, to relieve the pressure. You let it sit. That alone unsettles people. In a good way. Women feel seen without being hunted. That's rare. Then your body language shifts. You take up space without trying. Your shoulders settle back not because you're forcing posture, but because your nervous system is calmer under pressure. You're not leaking energy through fidgeting, over-talking, or nervous laughter. You move like you have time, and nothing signals value like a man who is not in a hurry for approval. Your voice changes too. Not dramatically, but noticeably. Less pitch fluctuation. More pauses. You don't rush to fill silence, because silence doesn't scare you anymore. Silence becomes a tool. When you speak, it feels intentional. Words land heavier when they're not sprayed everywhere. Women respond to that weight instinctively. Here's the part most men misunderstand. Semen retention doesn't make women attracted to you because they sense semen or pheromones or some mystical aura. It works because it restructures you. You stop needing outcomes to regulate your emotions. You're not chasing validation to feel okay. That internal independence is what women read as confidence. When a man is constantly releasing, especially through habitual porn use, his baseline becomes low-grade exhaustion. Not always physical, mental, and emotional. He approaches women hoping they'll give him something. Attention, excitement, a hit of novelty. That's felt immediately. Neediness doesn't come from words. It comes from intent. Women are experts at reading intent. Retention removes that hunger. Or more accurately, it converts. Italiano. Sexual energy doesn't disappear. It moves upward. It fuels ambition, focus, assertiveness. You become less impressed by surface-level attention and more selective. Ironically, that selectiveness makes women lean in more. Humans value what doesn't immediately want them. Another critical shift is emotional regulation. Men who release constantly tend to be emotionally flat or emotionally leaky, either numb or reactive. Retention increases emotional intensity, but it also forces you to manage it. You feel more, so you must develop control. That combination, intensity with control, is magnetic. Women feel safe and stimulated at the same time. Your reactions slow down. Someone tests you. You don't snap back defensively. A woman pulls away slightly. You don't chase, you stay centered. That steadiness communicates abundance without a single word. Weak presence is reactive presence. Strong presence is responsive, or sometimes not responsive at all. There's also a subtle shift in how you perceive women. When you're not constantly dumping sexual tension, you stop reducing women to release opportunities. You listen better. You notice nuance. You're less impressed by looks alone and more tuned into vibe, intelligence, and behavior. Women feel that immediately. Being seen as a human rather than a target changes the entire dynamic. And here's the paradox. The less you try to attract, the more attractive you become. Retention helps because it removes desperation from the equation. You're not constantly negotiating with yourself. How do I get her to like me? You're more concerned with, do I even like this interaction? That internal shift flips the power dynamic. Your presence becomes directional. You're not floating, hoping to be chosen. You're grounded, moving forward with or without external validation. Women are biologically attuned to follow direction, not dominance in a cartoonish sense, but inner certainty. Retention builds that certainty because you're no longer sabotaging your own momentum. Now, this only works if you don't replace ejaculation with other forms of escapism. If you retain but numb yourself with junk food, endless entertainment, or constant social media, you blunt the effect. The real benefit comes when retention is paired with challenge, training, work, discipline, purpose. That's when energy consolidates. Instead of stagnating, at around 2 to 3 weeks, many men notice something strange. People treat them differently. More eye contact, more respect, more unsolicited engagement. This isn't coincidence. Humans are exquisitely sensitive to microsignals, posture, timing, tone, emotional coherence. When those align, presence amplifies. Women especially notice because attraction is largely nonverbal. You don't have to say anything impressive, you just have to be solid. Retention helps you stop bleeding energy through compulsive habits, which allows that solidity to form. The final piece is self-trust. Every time you resist the urge to escape discomfort through release, you reinforce a simple message to your nervous system. I can handle pressure. That message compounds. Confidence is not positive thinking. It's evidence. Retention provides daily evidence that you're in control of your impulses. Women trust men who trust themselves. So if you've felt invisible, overlooked, or dismissed around women, don't immediately blame your looks or your personality. Look at your energy economy. Look at how often you're giving away your edge for momentary comfort. Fix that, and your presence fixes itself. You won't need lines. You won't need tricks. You'll walk into a room and feel heavier in the best way. Women will sense it before you ever speak. And that's when attraction stops being something you chase and starts being something that naturally responds to you.